Looking at the coaching journey and understanding how it helped you move from execution focus and excellence to building strategic insight and also always looking at new challenges and creating a playground for yourself. I know that is very close to your heart, building a playground for yourself, embracing challenges, doing new things. And I want to share this story with the rest of the audience. So give us an example of that, um, Naveen, and tell us how that works for you.
Yeah, the challenge which I talked about and the journey which we covered and built certain new business domains. This off late, there has been few policies, which government kind of recirculated, and then there was no business precedence to those things. Me and my team, we thought this is an opportunity which we should grab. And when we had internal strategic discussions, people tell you it's a no-go, first thing. And when you see that there's an opportunity and someone tells you it's a no-go, personally, I feel I need to make this person, think otherwise. Not to prove him wrong, but think otherwise. And that energizes you a little more, okay? Because you should take some positivity out of negative comments also. So we started working on it, and let me tell you, we ended up concluding one of the biggest business on that front. We did a lot of research. We had to go around, meet a lot of people, get into some kind of consulting assignments, then come back, align the system, have a cross-functional team in place, with a lot of pushback. It's not going to happen. Moment someone says it's going to happen, then you have to make it happen. So we build up this domain like a pro now.
Talking to HR leaders, we have looked at talking to and understanding how organizations design their high potential programs. But what we really wanted to share with you today as a special gift is a journey of a high potential leader. Why is this important? Because so many of us, whether we're in HR, whether we're a business leader, nobody really tells us what not to do. Nobody really tells us how to have a long-term career. Nobody really tells us what choices we have to make while organizations are designing these programs for business growth. How can we orchestrate and build a program for ourselves, tips for ourselves, and design our own life as a high potential leader? We're very fortunate to have the company of Naveen Sharma, country head public sector, Lenovo India. Naveen comes with a lot of experience, 2.5 decades of experience in the Fortune 100 companies like Intel, Lenovo, and Hewlett Packard. And Naveen has been leading teams. Naveen has been at the helm of building business for in difficult times, in happy times, in growth times, in ups and downs, in the hardware, in the software sector. So there is so much to learn from him. And I'm really, really happy to be hosting this and having this discussion with Naveen. And while Naveen is coming up, just as a short introduction, Naveen and I have been working for the past decade is in coaching, and it's been a great journey. And as a short but very very important introduction, I would say Naveen is a leader who shows up every day as an aspiring role model. Whether it's his discipline, whether it's his health, whether it's his commitment to self, I haven't seen any change in the past decade since we've been working together in coaching. So it's been wonderful, and I hope that we can share some more insights with the audience as we start this session. While Naveen joins us back, tips that are very, very important for aspiring and ambitious professionals who want to build a high potential leader journey for themselves. It's important that first we show up and follow the plan that we have or that we build for ourselves. Secondly, one has to understand that perhaps the first few years, or let's say a decade, could be about building ourselves, but at some point, it also has to be about the team. So, how does one step out of an execution role, get into a role of building a team? That is extremely important. And thirdly, as one of our panelists also mentioned in our last episode, it's important that we see and understand the shift from an executional, directional, instructional kind of a role to a strategic observer kind of a role, where we're able to step back, take the role of a leader, and get into unlearning the execution part and allowing others to help us learn on execution. And here we have
Finally,
Naveen
I
in the
managed.
house. Hello, Naveen.
Yes.
And just for the audience, Naveen, I have never waited for Naveen even for a second. I think for all of our meetings, Naveen has always been there, I think 20 minutes or 30 minutes before, even if it's on a Saturday and even if it's at 8:30 in the morning. So I think this is the only time that this could have happened, Naveen.
Yeah, this is an important lesson I've learned in my coaching journey, right? At least show up. That's the least you can do. Right?
Great. Thank you so much for joining, Naveen. And of course, we've been talking now for a decade just on coaching. But because your journey has been so glorious and we want this success to share it as a precious insight to other professionals. I would start with my first question, which is, according to you, what are the 3 qualities that define high potential leaders?
Yes, Alka, there are a lot of qualities, but the 3 topmost which I rate, I would start with emotional intelligence or emotional quotient. And this does require self-awareness, self-regulation, a lot of empathy to be driven, and very valuable social skills, so that you manage your own emotions as well as manage for people sitting across you. Okay, so emotional, and in today's world, with all the more focus on mental health, this plays a very, very important role.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And when you talk about emotional intelligence, how has that helped you to build a team?
Your team members, they come from different social strata with different education and life backgrounds. So once you sit with them, get to know them better, their professional journeys, their personal lives, you need to decide how to engage with them. What kind of goals and roles need to be defined for them basis their emotional quotient. Okay, so if there's a person who is really, really having great social skills, you would definitely want them to front end in most of your endeavors. And there could be people who really do great job sitting behind the desk. So make a great team by mixing the roles together. So that's where emotional quotient for me plays a very important role.
Yeah, that's great. Something that I have noticed in my own career journey and in leaders who I really have learned from is how to balance inspiring teams with giving them critical feedback. How do you do that?
So you need to, and I think this starts with building trust, first of all.
Oh, yeah.
This also starts by fostering psychological safety. Okay, because you need to, first of all, give them the comfort of speaking out confidently with open mind, without any fear of intimidation, punishment. And then you get to know those people well. And then as the journey moves on, you come to know that, yes, you can give them open feedback or you can give them limited feedback. Different personas will accept different styles of feedback. And then you can, kind of motivate them, inspire them, walk along with them, and be a role model in their style of acceptance. Okay, that's what will bring the best out of them.
That is so true. That's so true. Another very important aspect of leading oneself and leading teams is how we handle challenges. Because when things are going well, they're going well, right? Then we're celebrating, we have awards, and we're recognizing people for it. And sometimes people can take themselves very seriously for that.
Yeah.
But how we are preparing them for challenges, especially when we look at growth or crisis, and in your 2.5 decades, you've seen so much in the best of the American MNCs and the best of technology brands. All of them face ups and downs, right? So, keeping that in mind, how do we prepare ourselves for mistakes? And how do we prepare resilience in teams for mistakes?
So, Alka, very pertinent point, over the last few decades, change has been the only constant, and the pace and the rate of change has been increasing, and with a lot of new dimensions getting added. And that does put people in insecure positions, or, they do get lost a bit or stuck a bit. I think the most important thing in that case will be to talk to them and make them confident, help them make confident moves towards change and adaptability. They need to keep on unlearning things. They need to keep investing time on relearning things, applying them into their lives, and try and get different outcomes with different scenarios. And they may fail, okay, but then the fear of failure should never be there. That's the most important task of a leader, to give them space, to give them opportunity, and sometimes even lead from the front to showcase how a change can be brought about, how a change can be successful, how a change can be scaled.
That's great. That's great. And if you had to pick, and this is for people who come from an execution background, a very strong reliance and focus on their own competence, but they are not good at leading people. They're not good at delegation. They're not good at building leaders within their teams. What tips would you give such leaders?
So I would first start with building up trust. Okay. So trust will give you a platform where people will open up. You will come to know their belief systems. You will come to know their learning paths so far, and how to kind of imbibe confidence into them to use that knowledge. Okay, and invest time in learning new things. Okay, I'll also, simplify processes and policies towards imbibing that change in their day-to-day operations. Okay, you need to create platforms for them so that they can spend time, invest time in themselves, and then open up certain opportunities where they go just practice. They may succeed, they may fail, but all that is part of life. So make them learn, give them space, and allow them to try it out in the open market.
That's great. Naveen, could you share an example from your 2.5 decades of how you have led teams through a challenging phase, using these values that we're talking about?
It's very recent. The organization I work with, we stumbled upon a very big roadblock, and which not only slowed down our growth of our usual business, but we knew that it's gonna come down to very negligible levels. So realizing that fact, and at the same time, even organization was investing in people to learn. So it kind of complemented that journey, complemented the overall organizational journey, and we started investing on first of all enabling the team members to learn about new domains. First of all, there was a lot of reluctance, but then we chose some people who were less fearful, and they were more open to experiment, and they had more energy. So just to create some examples for others also. Okay, so then we built some cross-functional teams. So we ventured into totally new domains, okay, created new verticals. Initially, there were small wins, And then we realized the potential as we went into those domains. We also studied, we also researched about them. And today we stand in a position that it has become a mainstream business. Okay, so like we were degrowing, and now we on the path of growing back again, and that too exponentially. So only thing it was invest on learning, be very, very resilient, pursue even smaller goals. We failed. We
Mm.
failed many times, but
Mm.
we kept on.
Mm. That is great. That is great. Pursue even smaller goals. Look at things in a different way and experiment more and make more space for mistakes. And this is something, in fact, in my coaching conversations, when this comes up and when people are like, some people are so stuck with outcomes and they're like, I always get perfect outcomes. I'm ensuring my goal is perfect outcomes. And I'm like, okay, so when was the last time you did not get perfect outcomes in your past 10 years or 8 years or whatever? And they're like, never. So I said, that means you're not trying anything. That means you're not growing, because the first time you try anything, you will make a mistake. And
Yes.
there is a new team or a new goal or a new growth or a new target. If you're not failing, you are not growing and you're not trying anything new. So this is a
And
great model. Yeah,
and failing also builds up frustration at times.
of
And
course.
and how you handle that, how you navigate that along with your teams. Sometimes it takes months. You have to stand up every morning, show up, as you said, and keep on traveling. And but we've seen all kind of challenges. Some may take shorter while, some may take a longer while, but it's possible to overcome challenges and set new paths in front of you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You're a great advocate of coaching, Naveen. And I love the point that you just said that, failure leads to frustration because we're investing so much in it. We're getting the team along. We've set the stage, we've done everything for it. And we're really competing neck to neck with all other competition. And that is the window that we truly have to succeed, right? So taking the example of coaching, mm, how do you think you handle frustration differently now?
So, Alka, coaching had made a lot of difference, first of all, and we've been working together for so many years. So initially, I was reluctant, and you would have also noticed I wasn't so disciplined. Okay, we missed a few sessions. We didn't work on few outcomes, and first thing which I liked about was, when we dwelled into our belief systems, both at the personal level and at the societal level. And that was like something very, very different and new for me, because then you realize your blind spots, you realize what are your strengths, what are your true passions. You actually are able to demarcate between real and unreal. And that's where a coach calls out, work on the real things. Okay, don't get bogged down with this. Work on these belief system. This may be right, this may not be right. Okay, leave certain things behind. Focus on ones which really matter at that point in time. And working on that belief systems, it also helped in my career clarity. Okay, so coaching becomes very, very important for career, at least for myself, having spent 2.5 decades almost in the similar industry domains. I was of general opinion that I am doing fine. Okay. And maybe I'm meant for this kind of business motion, these kind of products. But I think with coaching, the most important clarity which I got, that the person is important, not the
Mm.
product, not the business line, not the situation. Okay. So that clarity actually, is also helping me to define my career path moving forward.
That's so great. And it comes from deep awareness and vulnerability, Naveen. And
Yeah.
I'm so honored to be having this discussion with you where you're opening up and talking about it. Firstly, very few people talk about coaching. So thank you for being one of those champions who are doing this so that others can A, experience it, B, talk about it, because the more we talk about it, the more change we bring. And I also know that you encourage your team to take coaching as well. And as
Uh,
you were telling me a few days back, that sometimes you're just meeting and discussing what you are realizing about each other and yourself in your conversations, and how that really opens up the world and conversations and trust, and
Yes.
makes it such a stronger conversation, because it's no longer about your action, it's about, I'm observing my action and I'm observing that I'm doing this. And then you get more access to yourself, you get more access to your actions and universe.
And that's an investment, Alka, which one leader should do in every team member, not only in driving the business outcomes, but also making them better individuals, more employable. Even you should not be thinking that they may be ahead of you in some times. That's how you should be investing in them.
Absolutely, absolutely. Like you always say, building a team of giants. That's
Yeah,
always been the motto that you have had.
yeah.
So that is really good. Now, looking at the coaching journey and understanding how it helped you move from execution focus and excellence to building strategic insight, and also always looking at new challenges and creating a playground for yourself. I know that is very close to your heart, building a playground for yourself, embracing challenges, doing new things. And I want to share this story with the rest of the audience. So give us an example of that, um, Naveen, and tell us how that works for you.
Yeah, uh, the challenge which I talked about and the journey which we covered and built certain new business domains. This off late, there has been few policies, which government kind of recirculated, and then there was no business precedence to those things. Me and my team, we thought this is an opportunity which we should grab. And when we had internal strategic discussions, people tell you it's a no-go, first thing. And when you see that there's an opportunity and someone tells you it's a no-go, personally, I feel I need to make this person, think otherwise. Not to prove him wrong, but think otherwise. And that energizes you a little more. Okay, because you should take some positivity out of negative comments also. So we started working on it, and let me tell you, we ended up concluding one of the biggest business on that front. We did a lot of research. We had to go around, meet a lot of people, get into some kind of consulting assignments, then come back, align the system, have a cross-functional team in place, with a lot of pushback. It's not going to happen. Moment someone says it's going to happen, then you have to make it happen. So we build up this domain like a pro now.
That's great. That is really, really good. Um, what do you think is the role of an organization in helping high potential leaders like you to grow?
Give them freedom. Okay, give them a platform where they can devise strategies, even if they are sounding a little risky in nature. There should be enough trust obviously get built up when you've spent so much of time. So basis that trust only, you get that platform, you get that leverage to try new things. And and of course, direction, which is in line with the organizational imperatives. So that the leader has to take it along with your team members.
That's great. That's great. Naveen, another thing, and that's very, very typical to your career, is that you're a technology expert. You have seen the world go up and down. You've seen the dot-com era, and then you saw the offline, online, and now we're moving towards the AI. I
Yes.
mean, come on. I think you've seen everything that there is to be seen in the technology industry. And I know that you treat your team members as experts and you're always looking at their opinion and their advice. I see that in our meetings when we have our meetings, where we are learning from them as well, right? So, how did you stay relevant in a changing, um, fast changing, challenging
Yes.
area like IT and tech?
So Alka, I think been a bit lucky about it because have been part of top organizations, and these organizations always had a global view, very strong view, and they keep invested in research and development, and they want to stay ahead of times. So we've been given, as employees of these organizations, we have been given platforms well in advance, kind of a heads up. Okay, this is a change which is coming. But then important part, aligning with that change, investing in learning about it, even going out and finding opportunities where that change will be really, really important and relevant, because and that will turn out to be a business opportunity, which is what eventually an organization is looking forward to. So there is a direction which keeps coming, and I see not everybody aligns to it. Okay, so that
Hmm.
sense of responsibility, that sense of awareness from your organizational knowledge, as well as your, social engagements with your other peer friends from different organizations in the same industry or different industry, you to gather that intelligence and bring purposeful information back into your system, and then aligning your teams along with it to make them towards positive business outcomes. Obviously there will be failures, but then eventually you will reach there. That's the mindset which will kind of take your team along with the change which is happening so fast around us.
That's great. That's great. Naveen, another question that comes to my mind is that if somebody had to design their growth plan, you know, what is, say, the top three things they should keep in mind to design their growth plan without depending on their organization or HR or their manager? What are the three things they should do to build themselves as a high potential leader?
I think adaptability is the first part, because when you are building and thinking about a growth plan, there will be a lot of changes around it. It could be literary in nature, it could be technology, it could be the way you engage, it could be the way you would want to deliver, uh, choice of co-travelers, choice of team members, all that
Mm,
complexities, and ultimately, with that adaptability, you need to create a strategy which is forward-looking. Okay, so it will definitely have a lot of numbers around it, a lot of skill sets around it, but that will be the first part, which is important, which is very important to be laid out, because that's what you're going to show to your team and to your management, first of all, and it should give them confidence. Second thing, you will have to inspire and motivate your teams to come out of their comfort zones. You will have to stand up with them every day, invest time with them, take small baby steps, so that you are able to get some outcomes which will motivate everyone. So that journey, that standing up, walking, role modeling, whether you are doing it or whether you're getting some external role models to do it, that will be very, very important. And when you get those small wins, then what is important is to scale it. Then how do you build your ecosystem, internal, external ecosystem, to deliver on a larger scale? So strategize,
mm.
okay, have some small wins, and then think about scaling it. I would take these three steps to deliver something very different and new.
That's great. That's great. Because you have really mastered self-awareness. Uh, and I know even in our conversations, the first point, whenever we discuss an observation, you're like, okay, so what do you think about it? You know, you're never like, this is what I want to say. You're like, okay, what do you think about it? And you'll place everything out there, and both of us get to observe it. And you have the patience and you hold that. Um, if there was a tip you had to share um, for the audience with an example on self awareness, how do people build self awareness in themselves?
So I've learned from you and I've applied it. So
Thank you.
first is, I think, I something very new which you recommended to me a few years ago: start journaling. Okay, start reflecting upon it. Maybe best is every day, but as frequent as you can do. Because if you journal it, you reflect upon it, you invest time on it, you will get different outcomes and different perspectives. Okay. And then you might decide to share with some of your confidants to get their perspective also. Okay. So that's a very, very important thing which I have learned. And on self-awareness, it is also important to invest on your physical health and mental health. Because if you don't have a balance between both, and ideally the best of both, you'll not be able to, kind of correlate with people. You'll not be able to energize yourself. So to me, two things, journaling and reflecting upon it, and investing on physical and mental health. These are two key takeaways which I would tell people to really imbibe in their lives.
Thank you so much for this. And you are an epitome of that. I have never seen any fluctuation on the health front. On the punctuality front today, of course, was a little different because tech came in the middle. We should not be doing any more digital calls. Naveen, it has to be face to face.
No, we learned it, so we'll be perfect next time.
Yeah. In fact, I'd love to have a more detailed discussion with you, and we would like more such insights for professionals who look up to leaders like you. There's so much to learn, and I know today's session hasn't done justice to what we can learn from you, Naveen. Thank you so much again for joining us today. It's an honor. It's been so pleasurable, and it's always, always inspiring to speak to you.
Thank you, Alka, and thank you, Team Originbluy. It was great to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Naveen.